Thank you so much for joining us on this live Tuesday edition. I'll keep almost saying Monday because of Memorial Day being yesterday. DanielEstulin.com is his website. Daniel Estulin is with us for the balance of the hour via video Skype from Europe. And Daniel Estulin is a best-selling author in 64 countries with a true story of the Bilderberg Group, translated into 41 languages, including #1 bestseller in Spain. And he now has written the book that we sell, Trans-Evolution, The Age of Human Deconstruction, and how the paradigm changed for humanity that shall define its future and threaten its very existence. And he joins us to give us his latest intel from his sources. And again, it's in my film Endgame that came out in 2007, a full year and a half before the October 2008 crash. It has the clip of him in it, in the bar, where we would all get together with reporters and share notes that his source, who I later learned who his source was separate from Daniel, one of his sources, in finance, I'll just leave it at that, but I'm just showing Daniel. I went and checked on his sources. We have some of our own sources as well. Tucker was a big one. He had some good sources, but those have dried up a little bit since his death last year, a few weeks before. Bilderberg's, when remember Jim Tucker, the original Bilderberg sleuth who read Westbrook Pegler's articles in the 50s when Jim was a big sports writer and news writer nationwide. He was a big syndicated columnist, classic straw hat, whole 9 yards. And he said, there's no way a secret political group's meeting. I would have heard about it. This would be big news. And then he began to sleuth it for decades when no one even knew the name of it. But then Estulin, because he's in the continent of Europe and went to a lot of these events where they got shot at in Portugal and other cases, was really able to get some amazing sources. And so he joins us to give us the true intel agenda that he's been able to ferret out this year. The official list and what they claim their agenda is now on their website, BilderbergMeetings.org. We have links to that up at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. DrudgeReport.com is linked to that right in the middle column of Drudge. But we have a boil-down page that has both their official press release of what they say their agenda is and the official list at Infowars.com. But Daniel Estulin of DanielEstulin.com joins us. He's also the author of The Octopus Deception. Daniel, so much to cover. Where would you like to begin?
Again, it's the Bilderberg time of the year again, and I'm very happy to see that you're well and healthy and still going strong. So needless to say, thanks for the invitation. We can start, I guess, with the agenda items that have come to me through my source, as you said, about a week and a half ago. Now, I wouldn't be particularly trusty of what the Bilderbergers say their agenda items are, because a lot of the times the actual agenda list of discussion points and what has been published on our webpage is something watered down or complete fallacy, especially if dealing with some thorny issues as we are this year. So I can give you the 7 out of about 9 or 10 items they'll be discussing. Number 1, nuclear diplomacy, the coming struggle of Iran nuclear pact. This is one of the items. It's very interesting, needless to say, because Obama's or the elites, or the oligarchies, or Bilderberger's nightmare is Russia, China, and Iran working together against the will-be powers of the world. The second item I have from my sources is the consequences of Russia-China gas agreement on long-term cooperation. Needless to say, Bilderberg is going to be very, very, very angry at Obama. They're going to basically call him out and ask him what exactly he's planning to do. I mean, they've got the front door locked allegedly with their I can't think of the word
NATO system.
Exactly, with the boycott of the Russian economy. I just can't think of the word right now. But what they've forgotten to do is the
sanctions. Sanctions.
That's right. That's right. What they forgot to do is actually get the back door locked. So the Russians and the Chinese gas agreement is, needless to say, something that especially the Europeans are very worried about. Number 3 is the German nationalism through a prism of European Union's political system. And that's a very, very interesting point because, again, we're dealing with the Europe's biggest nation economically and the fact that you're dealing with nationalism itself. And again, keep in mind that this list that I'm reading off right now came to me about a week before the elections, European elections on Sunday, which showed how extreme left and right and basically nationalist parties across the continent have taken a very big chunk out of the traditional left-right divide, Hegelian dialectic, as we say, in the European Parliament. Then the fourth item is European Union's internet privacy regulations and what it means for the United States. Fifth is cyber war and peace, and again, we're seeing a lot of that, especially with the United States and China. Sixth point is from Ukraine to Syria. Is Obama's foreign policy doomed? Again, Obama is going to be in the eye of the storm in this particular meeting. Needless to say, American presidents, sitting presidents, never attend Bilderberg meetings, although two would-be presidents or soon-to-be elected presidents or presidential candidates have attended, as was the case with Bill Clinton back in 1991, who attended the Baden-Baden Conference, and he was introduced to the North American Free Trade Agreement for the first time at that meeting by David Rockefeller, and Rockefeller at the time asked him, theoretically, if you were to be elected president, Mr. Clinton, would you support NAFTA? And Clinton, who had no idea what NAFTA was, asked Rockefeller. It was important to him, and Rockefeller said, very important. And he said, of course I would, David. And so Rockefeller extended his hand, and he said, thank you, Mr. President. The rest is history, Alex. As you know, this is a story that I go in somewhat more detail in my book, The True Story of the Bilderberg Group. Then the seventh item of 9 or 10 that I have is climate change, ethical and economic challenges ahead. Again, we go back to the same dead old horse, climate change. And again, it's just a metaphor for reducing the world's economy, for deindustrialization, zero growth, and we're seeing the effects of that on the world stage today.
So neo-feudalism, amazing. So going over these points again, and I want listeners to understand, Estulin really does have Bilderberg sources. We've confirmed that. So this is so important what you're hearing, that weeks ago, he's now revealing that here to us exclusively. We're very thankful that obviously, who they say is on the list, there's about 20, 30 people that sneak in, presidents, prime ministers. We're going to have our reporters there documenting that. What they claim their agenda is will be a few little speeches they give to get around the fact that this is illegal in most countries to be setting policy in secret, especially in England, but also in Denmark. And then they have their real meetings that break away. And this has come out in their minutes that have come out of the National Archives from the 67 and others. So we've been able to reverse engineer a lot of this. But Estulin has multiple sources, one of which we're aware of, that is able to get the internal minutes, I guess, from their steering committees, that they have meetings 3 times a year, at least, in Europe, England, and the U.S. One meeting in the U.S., one meeting in England, one meeting in Europe. It varies sometimes, where you have the top people pretty much hammering out what the agenda is. Then it's sent to the second tier, correct me if I'm wrong, Daniel, to have any changes parliamentary from what then goes on at the informal, pretty much voting that goes on. But big, nuke proliferation, China, Russia, how to use sanctions, how to block them, how to cut Russia's funding off, because they cut them off in Europe, making their money. They'll just do it with China. How does that happen? German nationalism of the Le Pen movement, UKIP spreading, the real Tea Party movement here that the establishment's threatened by, web takeover, and laws that Europe may pass restricting illegal NSA surveillance. What will that do here? Cyber war. I guess that's how they plan to attack, claim somebody else did it, and use that as the excuse for the takeover of the web, is their cover term, cyber war. Obama being doomed. How do they flush Obama because he can't get the agenda through? He was Bilderberg darling, as we know. Climate change, their global taxes, neo-feudalism. Is that an accurate roundup of what you just said, sir?
Yes, sir, very much so. Now, as you were going through the list, I was kind of thinking to myself, what would people who are listening or who are not familiar with Bilderberg and who might be listening for the first or the second time, actually the existence of this group. Now, to most people who are not familiar with Bilderberg, this whole thing sounds crazy because, again, how do you convince people that a meeting that takes place once a year during 3 days or 3.5 days actually has such tremendous effect on world policy? And this is something, if we have a minute, I'd like to explain so that people understand that this isn't some kind of a wacky conspiracy theory, that this thing is real, and there's a way that this thing works.
Daniel, absolutely. We're going to come back. I will give you the floor in the next 6-minute segment. Then an 18-minute segment's coming up, another 6 minute, to really break this down. Folks, We're not bragging. This is major gravitas here. You're hearing what the most powerful group in the world, they don't run the world, they're trying to. They run probably half the world or more. You're hearing what's on their real agenda right now. There are major spy agencies that don't know this stuff. They're tuned in right now as well. This is hardcore info that you're getting from the highest levels.
Clean water at home, clean water at the office, clean water on the go. The Berkey Guy has a Berkey water filtration model for anywhere you are and one that fits any budget. Thousands of satisfied customers can't be wrong. For free shipping within the U.S., go to goberkey.com or call 877-886-3653. That's 877-886-3653. Helping thousands prepare since 2005, goberkey.com.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit and carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Ted Anderson, I'm placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
In the U.S., 1 in every 50 homes will have a break-in this year. Burglars call it smash and grab. Police call it robbery. We call it avoidable. We are Fake TV, a simple electronic device that can fool even professional burglars. Fake TV easily plugs into any outlet and simulates the changing colors of a television. To a burglar, it looks like someone must be home watching TV, so they'll likely move on to an easier target. At only $29.95, Fake TV costs less than a month of most alarm monitoring plans and comes with free shipping. Order your Fake TV by calling 877-5-FAKE-TV or go to faketv.com. That's 877-532-5388 or faketv.com. Fake TV, the burglar deterrent.
The human body is extraordinary. Despite all the stresses we inflict upon it, it still works hard to stay in balance. Thousands upon thousands of people rely upon Heart and Body Extract to help their body stay balanced. This excellent 100% natural herbal formula helps maintain healthy blood pressure levels, cleans arteries, promotes good circulation, balances cholesterol, and more. HB Extract, paired with healthy lifestyle choices like good nutrition and exercise, can give you a life free of pain, sickness, and fear. Recapture your youthful vitality and experience your body healing itself with the aid of HB Extract. It's extremely effective and it starts working in just days. Visit hbextract.com to learn more and to read scores of testimonials from satisfied customers. And we've never increased our price in over 10 years. That makes Heart and Body Extract as great a value now as it was the first day we sold it. A healthy heart is a happy heart. Call 866-295-5305 or go to hbextract.com.
This is Keisha Rogers, Democratic candidate for the U.S. Senate. Today is your chance to change the course of history by voting for me to kick the corrupt Obama regime out of the Democratic Party and pick up where our nation left off under a truly great president, John F. Kennedy. I'm running to break the control of Wall Street parasites over our government and over both parties by reinstating the Glass-Steagall Act. That means no more bailouts. The corrupt Democratic Party leadership doesn't want you to vote at all, as they're trying to sneak in a Wall Street millionaire who will easily lose to Wall Street Republicans like John Cornyn. This is your chance to break Texas free from that lose-lose situation. I have a program to revive the pro-growth scientific tradition of John F. Kennedy, exemplified by the space program and nuclear power. Vote today for me, Keisha Rogers, in the Democratic runoff for U.S. Senate. This is Keisha Rogers, and I authorize this message.
Paid for by Keisha Rogers for U.S. Senate.
Welcome back, my friends, to our continued coverage of Bilderberg 2014. The mainstream media they own and control is dying. They won't cover it, so we do at Infowars.com. We've got Paul Watson on the ground. Our other reporters get there tomorrow. Their flights were delayed. You've got the floor to break down how big a deal Bilderberg is. You know, just last week, one of the Bilderberg group members, we covered it last hour with Paul Watson, Daniel, bragged that they indeed are the most powerful and are setting up a world government. So we've really forced them to try to hide it in plain view. Daniel Estulin.
No matter